It takes just one step. I feel super excited about what I have been able to achieve with my family, friends, and my faith. Today on Hangout, we get to talk agribusiness and how the little decisions have all culminated into something worth sharing.
Hi guys, and welcome to another exciting season of Springboard Hangout. The Springboard Hangout, as you know, is your fun educative program where we have fun, we learn about issues, and this new season is so awesome. We're looking at different issues like true passion for impact. We're also looking at how would unlock entrepreneurship, empower her. We're looking at how agric would have a different new look and different things that we would explore here on the Hangout. As you know, my name is Comfort Okran. Last week, we kicked it off really sharp with a look at teampreneurship, and kudos to Mami Sewa and Abigail, those phenomenal young ladies who hosted the program for us. To all the organizations and people who made the Teampreneurship 2024 come off in such a wonderful way, I want to say thank you. Thank you to Mastercard Foundation, as well as Limehouse, Miraki Arts, Access Human Capital, the children, the parents, the vendors, people who brought us food, Ghana Eyes, everybody. You made Teampreneurship fantastic. Today, we are hanging out with a guest whose journey was made incredibly different based on a simple 1-degree shift that he made in his life. There are many people who are on such, a downward slope, but because that person is able to do that, there's a change. I want us to listen to Reverend Albert Okran, Technical Director of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation, as he shows us succinctly how the concept of a 1-degree shift can make a difference in your life. But since we are at Eden Bar, hey, I can't be talking without a drink. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The power of a 1-degree shift. Now, purpose is that a little change in behavior, maybe from something you learned from about the sports discipline, or from JoJo, or from any of the facilitators, maybe tomorrow you wake up 15 minutes earlier and write down your plan for the day. Something you do differently. It doesn't have to be very big. Something very small will be the beginning of the change in your whole life. So if ever there's a little 1-degree shift, just 1-degree shift, not a very big one. Maybe 1-degree shift will be reading over her work before she submits it. 1-degree shift will be improving her vocabulary. 1-degree shift will be trying out the ideas she got from here about using their talent or using AI or something. Now begin to walk in the direction of 10 people, not freely walk. Can you see something? The more they walk, the more the gap widens between something. That is the power of a 1-degree shift.
Turn around, turning point, yeah. He's a turn around.
Welcome back to the Hangout. When we're going on the break, I said let's look at the concept of the 1-degree shift with Reverend Albert Okran, Technical Director of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Today we're hanging out with John. John's story tells us all about how that concept can be real in somebody's life. And therefore, let's come straight to John, who is the CEO of Eden Bar, as well as J2 Global Solutions. And we'll find out, is it true or not?
It is true.
It is true?
Yeah.
Tell us about your background.
Yeah, so I grew up actually in the Volta region.
Yeah.
The part I grew up in actually is now located in the OT region. But when we were growing up, it was the Volta region. And I grew up from a very humble home. We were six children to my parents, and it was a very lovely home. Both my dad and mom were very loving. They always tried to provide, as best as they could for us. I went to school right there in Volta region, KJB, through to secondary school, and then I came to university at Valley View University. So yeah, my life growing up was just like the regular,
Young child enjoying life in GH, anywhere that you are. And you've come to, you've managed to get to university. However, I know there was an interruption
Yeah.
at the secondary level. And that kind of started that 1 degree shift on the other side.
On the other side, yes.
Do you care to share a little bit of that?
Yeah. So I found myself in some negative habits growing up, starting right from I think even primary or GHS, with pornography and all of that, and then alcohol also came into the picture. In secondary school, I started drinking, started smoking, and we're doing all this for fun. It wasn't something we're even doing every day. But every now and then, my friends and I would leave school without permission, just go out for a party or go to another school for a fanfare, as we had those days. And we thought we were just, having fun and being, cool kids. But those habits led into, severe ones, and it found me addicted to drugs at the point when I got into university.
What kind of drugs are you talking about?
My drug of choice then was marijuana. I was a heavy smoker of marijuana, and I also dabbled in other drugs like tramadol, codeine, and yeah, cigarettes, codeine, tramadol, and then marijuana primarily.
So if you say marijuana primarily, is it like daily? Is it
Hourly? I may even say. I mean, at the peak of my addiction, I was smoking every other hour.
people who sometimes pursue that path talk about the fact that when you smoke marijuana, it elucidates your mind, it makes you sharper, it gives you more insight into your grade. So I'll presume that since you're pursuing that path, it had a positive effect, or was it the other way around?
I think it's an illusion, and for some reason, when you start smoking, you may experience things like that because the chemicals in marijuana goes into certain parts of your brain that opens up your creativity. But after a long-term use, that's when you start seeing the negative effects. So, when I first started smoking marijuana, some of the things I realized was that it made me eat well. It gave me appetite to eat, so I thought that was a good thing. It gave me a false sense of confidence as well. So I was able to, just go out everywhere and be that guy and, fraternize with people. And I thought that was also cool. But then when it got to the point where I had to depend on marijuana to even function, I started to realize the negative effects. And clearly, it's been scientifically proven, marijuana actually destroys your short-term memory.
Okay.
So, contrary to what people say that it helps you become sharp, it actually destroys your memory. So you find a lot of people who smoke, they're always forgetful, they're always confused, they don't even know, anxiety, then paranoia sets in, hallucination, all these things, are some of the bad effects that come later on after you use for a while.
Was that what propelled you to shift, or what were the series of events that led to you saying that, okay, you know what, I've done this long enough, let's turn the other way around?
For the negative effects, I started seeing them when I was still in school.
Okay.
In level 200, I failed all my courses, and by God's grace, I think I was a brilliant kid because in first semester I was a first class student. My GPA was 3.9. But then in level 200, I went to check my results, and then I failed everything, F. And immediately I realized that my choices were bad because I didn't even go for lectures anymore. I didn't do my assignments. All we did was just stay in the hostel, smoke, get high, party, and that was it. So at that point, I realized that I had to sort of put a stop to it or slow down. I tried, but it didn't work out. I think I just stayed away from it for about a week, and then I found myself back into it. one of the things I even did then was to change my environment because I wanted to get away from my friends. Everybody around me then was smoking.
Yeah.
So I thought if I left that hostel and went to a different place, perhaps I'll be able to control it. But it didn't work. I still found myself in. And looking back, I realized that the change of environment is not enough. The change has to come from within.
Okay.
But I hadn't changed the person I was within. I had just changed my surrounding.
So you kind of just drifted back.
I kind of just drifted back into it.
So tell me something. In 2018, something significant happened.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing with us?
Yeah. 2018 was the start of the 1 degree shift to the positive side. And it all started somewhere around March. I was in my room. I was just watching music videos on TV. And at that point, my life was very miserable. I could smoke all I wanted, I could drink all I wanted, but I still felt very empty and very miserable. I felt like my life wasn't going anywhere. So whilst I was watching the music videos, a sermon popped up on my screen, Stepping Out from Your Prison by Dr. Mensa Otabil. And the title caught my attention
because indeed you were in a prison.
I was in a prison. So I said, okay, let's hear what this man has to say. My dad is actually a pastor, so I grew up in a Christian home.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have any relationship with Christ for myself. And I had heard about Dr. Mensa Otabil, but I didn't even listen to him before then. So I clicked the message, and he was talking about Peter when Peter was in prison. God didn't just go and pluck him out of the prison. God sent an angel to tell Peter to get up, to put on his clothes, and to walk out of the prison himself. So immediately I realized that if, that measure I found myself in, if anything was going to change, then I had to also take the conscious effort to step out of it. But I couldn't imagine my life without, my favorite friend and lover then, Mary Jane, as I used to call her, Marijuana Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And so, but the message sowed a seed. So I kept listening to him over and over again. Then I also discovered Dr. Miles Monroe.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to both of them over the next couple of months until around October. Something tragic actually happened in October that just, made me decide. That's it. And if you want me to share, there was this guy I used to follow on social media. He was living the life, as they say. He was driving the flashiest cars. He was flying private jets, traveling all around the world. And one day I go on social media and this guy kills himself. He jumped from the 10th floor of his penthouse in Miami, committed suicide. So I realized, what shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
At that time, I know you were employed.
Yes.
But you had to leave that place. So what were the next steps that you took at that point to ensure that you were able to, keep on the new trajectory you had decided to travel on?
Very important. So sacrifices. And, I mentioned earlier that in school I changed my environment, but it didn't help much.
Yeah.
But this time around, I was working in the entertainment industry. I was actually with a company that had a nightclub and a record label. So the setting of that business just made it easy for me to access drugs, to access the, alcohol and the promiscuous lifestyle I was leading. But this time around, because the change had come from within, changing the environment was not a big deal. And I didn't even have to do it immediately, but I was able to sustain my newfound, set of values. So I quickly realized that I couldn't thrive in that environment anymore. And it was a big sacrifice to make because at the point it was my job. It was providing me everything, my accommodation, feeding, salary, car, everything was coming from that job. But I realized that if I stayed in that environment, then it would be possible for me to fall back into the habit.
And you're watching us today and you're wondering, I don't know, maybe somebody who is in this kind of position, or you yourself, you may be in such a position. We at the Springboard Roadshow Foundation, we've been blessed to have a partnership with the MasterCard Foundation. We are doing a program called Ghana Grows. Ghana Grows is about engaging young people for them to explore the opportunities in agric, ATVET, and the extended value chain for both. One of the unique things that is part of the Ghana Grows program is the opportunity to offer psychosocial support for people who may be facing maybe an addiction, or maybe have some anxiety or something. So this is a call out to you. If you're in such a situation, or you would like to have someone to talk to, or you just don't know where your life is going, This is a chance for you to call us on our hotline, and the number is on your screen right now, 0308 255 775. And we'll be most happy to engage you either with the psychosocial support which is offered by the Ghana Psychological Association, or with mentoring in different industries along the extended value chain of the Springboard Hangout. John, I know you run a mentoring program because of what you have gone through.
Yes.
Tell us about that program and what does it offer to the people that you do that for?
Yes, it started because of my passion for seeing young people become better versions of themselves, because I was able to experience that transformation. So I go to secondary schools a lot. I provide mentorship to the young ones on how to avoid substance abuse, because mostly it comes out of peer pressure. You want to feel cool, you want to belong to the clique. And so I try to provide mentorship through my own experience to guide them on better paths they can take. And Eden Bar is also part of that program. We have events here where we do cell meetings and discuss various topics to help people grow.
You've spoken about Eden Bar, and I'm really enjoying my drink. You said, which one is this one?
This is called Creme de la Creme.
Creme de la Creme.
Yes.
I can assure you, it is indeed Creme de la Creme. It's really nice. So, what brought about Eden Bar?
Eden Bar, I guess I did it for myself. After I quit drinking, I realized that everywhere you went to in Accra, alcohol was in your face, and I had worked in the nightlife industry. We had one of the best nightclubs in town, and I couldn't go there anymore, because even if I went, my friends would force me, Charlie, just one glass, just one touch, just one. And I realized, it's not for me. But I also noticed that there are several people out there who didn't want to drink or didn't want to be surrounded by alcohol, but they had limited choices. So if they wanted to just go to a nice place and hang out, sit down, socialize, the options were limited. And so I said, if it was not out there, then I'll create one myself. And that's how the vision for Eden Bar started. And thankfully,
how long did it take you to do? Because I am an entrepreneur. I know that yes, you may have a dream, but unless you are really backed by something, you have some very serious resources, or maybe the strategy is so good. I mean, it's not that easy to. It
was tough.
It was tough.
It was tough. I first got the idea in 2019, and then 2020 COVID came, so we couldn't even tackle it. But when I was ready to start in 2022, I put the idea on Twitter just to get feedback, and people roasted me. They said, "You are crazy. Why would you open a non-alcoholic bar? Everybody drinks. Like, what stupid idea?" Like, the receipts are still there. People on Twitter, people just said all sorts of things. It's impossible. It would never happen. But I didn't give up, because I had a very strong conviction, and I knew where I came from. So I just kept on doing my research, putting together my business plan, and we decided to start with a pop-up, because we had limited resources to even get a space to start. So we just did one event on 2nd October 2022. 2nd October actually happens to be World No Alcohol Day.
Okay.
So it fell right into place, and the pop-up was great. We had so many people come in. The drinks were lovely. The vibe was cool. And so from there, we did another pop-up. This time around, we did a 3-day pop-up. So we did a movie night, we did a sip and paint, and I think we did a live band. And that was also very good.
Okay.
And so in December of 2022, then we started the full-time bar. And then since then, we've been growing.
Has patronage grown over the years? Technically, it's now years.
Yes, it has. We've actually found our niche. Before when we started, we didn't really find a niche. It was just everybody, like it's a non-alcoholic bar, it's a Christian space, so people just come in. But along the way, we started to find a very, ideal niche for us.
Okay.
And this was found through Christian groups. There are several Christian groups in town that are made up of young people that understand what we are doing here. They want to have the cool nightlife atmosphere, but minus all the vices, the smoking, the drinking, the profanity. And so finding that niche really helped us. We've had so many massive events here. Artists like Kobe Sam, Scott Evans, they've done performances here. Okay. Like, it's been amazing.
I love that. Amazing. I love that. I mean, now that you say I may come and hang out here.
You should.
One of these days, during the evening. So you with the pop-up, with the now a regular place, a well demarcated place.
Yeah.
I understand that you're going to actually expand the space. Some of those, what are the new things that you're bringing on board here?
Yeah, so we're going to put up a stage where we can have live music every week. And then we're also going to put up some shelter because it's an open garden. And we
Yeah.
love to keep it because the name Eden reflects the
Yeah,
Garden of Eden
the
from
original
Bible.
concept,
Yes.
yeah.
But we need to put up some structures so that when it's even raining or when there's sunshine and all that, people can still sit here. And then our kitchen, the kitchen is something that is very key because people
Yeah.
love to eat.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to restructure our kitchen so we can provide
More options.
More options.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by November, we should be able to put all that in place and then get it up.
John, I mean, honestly, that's amazing. I'm very glad that you found the niche. I'm very glad that you are thriving. And I'm very happy too that, you know, come November, this space would have a new look, a new feel and buzz. And I'm sure the future will be so great. Right. So then I have a question to ask you, but I want to keep you guessing. So we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll find out more from John, who is telling us a wonderful story that encapsulates 1 degree shift. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back on the Springboard Hangout. Today, as you know, we're hanging out with John. John is the CEO of Eden Bar here in Tesano, as well as the CEO of J2 Global Solutions, which is a branding organization. Yes. Now, one of the things that I know you've used your knowledge about branding to build a particular brand for you. And I happen to have come across your book, Unchained. And in chapter 2, you had a story there, which I think has shaped the way you brand yourself.
Absolutely, it has.
Who is in chapter 2 and why did he catch your attention so vividly?
Chapter
At 6
2.
years old.
Yeah, titled Rollings in Town.
No wonder
Giving it out. Yeah, so I was only 6 years old when the late president Jerry John Rawlings visited my town
in KJB.
In KJB.
Okay.
And this town back then was very, I guess even till now, was very quiet and dull. You know, people didn't aspire as much to be anything big. But that day when Rawlings came into town, everybody was happy, everybody was jubilant. And as a 6-year-old, when I saw him on the podium, I said I wanted to become like that man. You know, I wanted to be the kind of person that when I even go anywhere, just by my presence, people can feel hope and people can feel, you know, something new. And so that's just where the inspiration came from. And I said I wanted to become president at 6 years old. But the devil also had his plans. So unfortunately, you know, I fell into all these addictions and things, and I almost forgot that part. But gratefully, I'm back on track now.
You know, I mean, it's what makes our journey rich. Because I have found in the course of time that there's always this tapestry where sometimes there's a thread you don't really like. Mm-hmm. And then there's something that really doesn't gel with you. But when you put it all together, you realize that God is at the center of it all, weaving such a beautiful tapestry with your life. And therefore, it enriches you. It makes it more holistic. So I love the John that I have today. And I can tell you that if your dream of becoming a president does come to pass one day, I mean, you would be a president who does not only know the other side, but a president that appreciates the challenges that people go through. And therefore, when you're going to enact any policy, if you're asking people to do anything, your policies would have that background. So, yeah, you went on a journey, but God had you. And you also decided to take control of that. And that is what makes our journey more interesting.
Yeah.
The other book, Mary Jane, I am yet to read it, but...
Yeah, Breaking Up with Mary Jane. When I stopped smoking, I felt like I really needed to share that story because I had a lot of friends who were still stuck in the habit and so many young people. And so I decided to write Breaking Up with Mary Jane. And I call it Mary Jane because of the intimate relationship I had with marijuana. And so I write this book like it's a relationship, like, you know, how I first met her, you know, the things that made me fall in love with it. And then eventually realizing that she was not the best for me. and deciding to, walk away.
Yeah.
So that's what breaking up with Merging is really about.
I see. So how I've been in the printing industry before, and one of the most interesting parts is the distribution of books.
Yeah.
How have you fared in that space?
Okay, well, thankfully, because of my branding firm, publishing my books were never difficult because I do graphics, I do printing. So J2 Global actually published both books. And with regards to distribution,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of my story, but I've had a sort of a easy landing with most of the bookstores.
Fantastic.
And yeah, I've been able to distribute the books across the nation.
Right. Tell me about Honey. I mean, guys, you can see that this is a young gentleman who is very versatile because he's exploring different parts of him. So he has the branding part, which helps him in communicating with people. He has the bar, which helps him say, okay, this is my social space. Let's enjoy. But then there's also the honey part. Tell me about Honey.
Yeah, Honey, Mandago Honey. Mandago is the name of my hometown in the Upper East region.
Okay.
And I started Mandago Honey because, at the point I was fasting, and in it I fasted, the only thing I took was tea with honey, but then green tea with honey. But I realized that most of the honey that were sold on the market were fake. And that defeated the purpose of what I wanted to use it for. And so I felt like, why don't I go and source out some good honey? I was actually sourcing it out for myself. So my mom actually went all the way to the village in Upper East region. She sent me a jar of honey, and it was the best. It tasted so delicious. It was natural. It was organic. And I said, you know what? I can't keep this secret to myself. So
Let me share it. In your estimation, what kind of impact has Eden Bar had on the community that you are in? I mean, this is all your business. What kind of impact are you having in the community around you?
I think we are challenging the status quo.
Okay.
For a long time, people think that alcohol defines fun. But we have one of our slogans that says that alcohol doesn't have a monopoly over fun.
Okay.
And the other one is 0% alcohol, 100% fun.
Fantastic.
So what we are doing here is to help, especially young people. I'm very passionate about young people to understand that you can still have fun without getting drunk or getting high. So when you come to Eden, that's why we have games, we have board games, we have live music sometimes, we have painting sessions, all these activities to ensure that even though there's no alcohol.
I see a very familiar face. My husband of 31 years here, so I have to play him before we go out. We'll play this game, and I'm sure I'll win. Yeah.
So that's the impact I think we are making. We are challenging the status quo to let people know, you can have fun and you can still feel cool without drinking or without smoking.
What do you think the future holds for you?
It's big. I mean, Africa, I'm a Pan-African. I think God placed me on this continent for a reason.
Definitely.
So, unlike many people these days who want to just leave the country, and it's a phenomenon across the whole of Africa. Everybody thinks there's no hope for the African continent. But
they are lying.
Yeah, I think there's so much potential here. There's so much we can do. And I want to be one of those change makers. I want to be one of those people that put Africa, at a place where we have other continents looking up to us for technology, looking up to us for health, looking up to us for food, and I think I can only do that by remaining here and building from scratch. And hopefully in the next 10 or 20 years, we can make a positive change on this continent.
Ghana Growth is all about agri. Ghana Growth is all about the extended value chain. John comes with the luggage, a background that otherwise looked very bleak. But because of a turnaround, because of a shift, because of a 1 degree shift, we are here where we are today. And if you are there watching us today, I just want you to know that, life is never too late. So far as you are breathing, so far as you have life, so far as you have breath, if you choose to go on the path where you see things going in the wrong way, and you make that 1 degree shift, there can be a good future for you. Before we go away today, John, what would be your final words for those who are watching us today? Just speak right straight to them.
I think God has a purpose for each and every one of us. We are not here by mistake. And the sooner you found your purpose, the better your life would become.
Next week, we have another amazing story about passion for impact. And today, for that, we're going all the way to Kaswa to meet up with Asogonnde. Asogonnde is someone who works with people with neurodivergent issues. So you have people with Down syndrome, you have people who may have learning disabilities. And Asogonnde, for the past decade, has dedicated her life supporting these people, supporting people in such conditions, supporting communities and families, and ensuring that they are not left behind. Don't miss next week, because you would laugh, you would cry sometimes, but most importantly, you will be inspired. This has been a hangout. Until next week, when we come your way again, know that you are loved. Know that you are blessed. Know that you are the most important person in the whole wide world. Bye.